So I wanted to make this video in relation to the Million Man March. Um, Overall, I want to say first and foremost, it was a beautiful event. I'd never seen so many different groups come together, especially within the Black community, to come together in such a positive way, put their differences aside, and focus on our common objectives. You know, it was good to see that. And the day went off rather without any, relative, wasn't any tension and wasn't any problems, which was a beautiful thing. The thing I want to bring attention to, is that when we get together in numbers of that magnitude, we need to be specific about what we want, because that's a lot of power. And the two things this social order understands, it only understands two things. It understands legislation and it understands power. Okay? And I love the justice or else theme, but there's no reason that we're trying to do 20 years later and trying to fight for the same things we was fighting for 20 years ago in the same event. There's no reason for that. And long story short, we have to speak in a language that the power structure understands, and the power structure understands two things: legislation and power. So if we get together like this and we trying to do a movement like this, we need the legislation to go with it. We need some kind of political goal to go with this. If Obama and Congress came out on the lawn in front of the Capitol and said, "Okay, we'll give you your justice," what does that look like? We wouldn't have had an answer, and we need to have an answer. This is exactly what we want. And then not only that, we have the legislation to go with it. When a lobbyist is paying money to a politician, they give them the money, right? When they get elected, they already have the legislation that if I'm an energy company, for example, I already have my legislation written out that gives me certain tax breaks, gives me certain contracts under law. I have that written out for you as my congressperson. So as soon as you get elected, I'm like, here, take this, get this passed, and then now that's how the payola works. So I'm saying that to say, when you bring together 500,000 people with a goal, let's be specific about that goal. Let's have legislation tied to that goal. If there's no legislation tied to it, they can't even hear what we're saying. Because that's the language that they speak. We're a nation built on laws. And laws are the foundation for how things operate and how things change. If you want something to change, you got to come at it from a legal perspective. You got to come at it from a legislative perspective, or you got to come at it from a power perspective, which is a whole separate conversation. But just my overall message is, next time we organize for a march, they gunned down one of our brothers in the street. Another 20th anniversary. Whenever we decide to march and come together, come with some legislation to go with it. Have specific things that you want enacted coming with it. And then you can be very clear about what you want because it's all written out. And you can be clear about what's being implemented because it's all written out. And that's the language they understand. And that's the level we have to take it to as social activists if we ever want to get serious about changing society. And then if they don't respect that, then we'll get to the raw power.